Come on in. Hi, Steve. If you guys want, you can take your mics off. We can say hi.
Hi there.
Hi there. Welcome.
Thanks.
And we got Heather here, and everyone's coming in now. Looks like you got a nice studio set up there, Steve.
Thanks. Yeah, just got it done before the quarantine.
Oh, well, that's in good time, right?
Very, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I'd like to make this as interactive as we can be today. It's a lot more fun than me giving you a lot of information. So there's still a lot of people to come in, but I do like to start somewhat on time. Where are you located, Steve?
Minneapolis.
Oh, nice. I've been there.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was there my first commercial ever was for Snyder's Drugs.
No kidding.
Do they still have that there?
You know, I think they might, but Snyder's, if they are, Snyder's is on the ropes. I think they've been bought by somebody.
Oh, really? Oh. Yeah, I flew in the middle of winter. It was my first
I'm sorry.
commercial. I know.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was
not at our best.
Yes, not the best. Hi, Claire. Welcome. I'm so glad you made it.
Hi, thanks.
Hi. We're just waiting for a few more people to come in here, and we have we'll probably do a little less than an hour. We'll see how many questions you guys have. If you can turn on your cameras and mics, that would be great. If you don't want to, I understand, but I love to see people. So I have been graciously hosted by the Help Network, and today, today I'm going to talk about something which is really, really special to me. It's very rare, as you know, as artists, when you can create your own thing, right? That not many people have done before. And so teaching acting for animators is my baby. And I developed it, I want to say, maybe I'm going on 6 years, perhaps. And so I'm going to give you a little of information about a lot of things about what I teach and what I do. And I'm curious, I'd like this to be an open conversation, so please feel free to ask me questions at any time. You can put it right in the chat and I will answer. And although I'm not going to teach my class right now, I'm certainly going to talk a lot about the animation industry, and I have a feeling that a lot of people coming in here today work in voiceover, so or are actors. So we're all speaking the same language. So I'll start with my introduction. My name is Rachel Bailit, and I am a faculty member at the Lee Strasberg Theater and Film Institute in Los Angeles. And I have been teaching for, I think, going on 11 or 12 years, so quite a while. And how did I get into animation? How did I go from method acting to animation? To sum it up briefly, I had been working in the animation industry in a very niche field as a model. So whether a lot of people don't know this, but the studios use models. And this started back in about 2012. So I was, hello, welcome everyone if you're coming in. I had already been working in the animation field, and I had already been an acting teacher. So I found myself in these two very different worlds. The animation modeling fulfilled a lot of needs in terms of creative expression. And so by being in the rooms and befriending people at all these studios, not only studios, but I worked at all the video game companies as well, television shows, animated shows, like you name it, Simpsons, American Dad, Family Guy, Riot Games, Blizzard. So I have been in this industry a long, long time. And it is a small industry. It seems huge, animation, but it's not. And so I decided while I was working in all these studios, I said, what am I doing? I should be teaching acting here. That's what I do. So I created a curriculum, and I began teaching my curriculum. It was really nice to be supported this way. I began teaching through the Animation Guild, which is in Burbank. And they have, for their union, from actually a bunch of different unions, they offer classes. Even like the makeup union is part of this thing called IDO, and the classes take place at the LA Academy of Figurative Art. And I started developing my curriculum there. And what does it mean to be a model for animation? Well, it means that you're telling stories, you're doing gesture work, and artists are drawing you. And it's a wonderful field. It's a real niche field. Most people don't know about it. I fell down this rabbit hole, and that's how I started it. So Claire, since you're in one of my classes right now, the first day, remember you did the poses and the gestures. I'm going to talk about that class in a little bit. And they were drawing you. Okay, that's essentially what it is for 2 or 3 hours straight.
Wow.
Depending on what they are, looking for. I'm a costume model, so I'm doing narrative and telling stories through that. So I decided to create this curriculum, and I call it method boarding. So it's for storyboard artists, but I use the premise of method acting. Does everyone know Lee Strasberg's technique here? Okay, I'll go over it just a little bit because it's very often misunderstood and misconstrued. So anyhow, I started teaching through the Animation Guild, and within a very short amount of time, I started teaching at Dreamworks and a regular acting class, and also teaching my own curriculum. And this last year, I started teaching at Warner Animation Group, which is just a joy to work at. And I started working, partnered up with a man named Dave Chislick at the Animation Guild, and he works for Marvel. And we teach together. So it's a part drawing class, part acting class. They're mainly all storyboard artists, animators that take this class. So it's very rare that I have actors that take that class every once in a while, but it's mainly people who want to understand how to put acting into their storyboards. The only place I veered off is in a class that I'm almost finished teaching right now that Claire's in, and it's a hybrid. It's a one of its kind. And again, I taught it with my friend at Marvel. It's been online, and it's been voiceover in animation. And this class has been exceptional. So we've taken voiceover artists, and I teach in Boston, so a lot of my Boston students have taken it, and they're already trained actors, and then we pair them up with animators. And so not only are they getting footage, but they're having the process for the reel, but they're having the process of collaborating with animators. And it's a one-of-a-kind class. And Claire, you're welcome to comment anything you want on it. And so what's happening is they're getting original projects by these really fabulous up-and-coming artists. Some of them are working in studios, and some of them are very close to doing that. And the artwork's just gorgeous. And so they're coming out of this class with maybe 3 or 4 samples put to animatics, which is unheard of. So that's a class I'm doing right now. We're wrapping that up in something that we'll probably teach again. And it's a chance for you to get a voiceover reel doing animation for movies or for video games, but really working directly with like the best people in animation. My partner Dave has won many Emmys. He's on a show for Netflix right now. So that's been sort of a deviation. Any questions so far? Any questions? Okay. So the one really exciting thing that's happened this last year is I actually started working on a movie called Super Pets. And that's Warner Animation Group. And so I have been able to work with the creative team from the beginning, developing characters. And in that shrine where, you know, the original art concepts are up on the wall, and that's been really interesting. And so the way I work is, like I said, through Lee Strasberg's method. So our method is based on everything coming from you, being very authentic, and learning how to relax, release tension, and then find that authentic you, and then put that into your choices. So there's no one that has your inner workings. And so understanding in animation, it's the same thing. You will create characters that are coming from you. And so they look like no one else, but as a result, they're also very universal. So method acting puts you at the center of everything. And how we develop you are through relaxation and then sensory exercises. And sensory exercises are fabulous, especially for animators, because you're creating things and it's a training tool for your concentration and for your imagination. We're training you to believe. And so dealing with imaginary objects, this all comes from Stanislavski. I don't know how up you are on your theater history, but these exercises were developed at the turn of the century in the Moscow Art Theater. And so Lee Strasberg took them and made them teachable into exercises. So I've taken all that because in animation, you're dealing with things that aren't there. So how do you make things that aren't there? And this is true for every actor here. How do you take that script and put your own DNA into it and make it yours? And that's the most important thing. Instead of trying to be like another actor, you really want to have your own point of view. And what better place than to pull from your own experiences? And so method acting gets very twisted in Hollywood, the way they use the term. They pretty much use it as a term for over-preparing or staying in character. It's not what it is at all. It's actually a very controlled system. So you never have to do that. You can start and you can stop. So what I found is that my artists really can tap into this because they're taking their animation boards and they're putting their humanity into it, just like we do into a script, right? We're really training as actors to become human. And because we've been so socialized and we've become so full of cliche and habit of what we should be in life and how we should look and all the masks we wear, we've got to break through all that and find you and then put that into your acting. And so that takes training. It really takes a lot of training, and that is really a joyful thing that I get to do. So I really get to introduce people to themselves and in a new way. And so it's always really, really fresh, and it's always authentic and truthful. So like any technique, I'm guessing a few of you are actors here. So like any technique, we're always trying to get to truth. It's how do you get to it? And all the techniques, which really come from one, are trying to find that. Whether you're studying Strasberg or Meisner or Chekhov or Stella Adler, you're trying to get to truth. So the most important things that I have to introduce artists to, since they aren't actors, are what choices do you make, right? In every frame, where did you come from? Where are you going? What do you need? What prior moment? Where are you going afterwards? Is there urgency? And the way we work at it, and the way I work at it in this method boarding, is to personalize, to take that script and make it personal and make it matter. So all words are full of meaning. All gestures are full of meaning. So like Michael Chekhov's psychological gesture, I do gesture work with my actors. I give them real situations. I have them on stage doing the acting work, and we find true emotion, and then we find the gesture for that. And then maybe we need to stretch it out for the art of it, for the bolder expression of it. But it all has to start from an authentic place. And so you can imagine, if you haven't had any acting training, how this would be helpful, because in animation, what you're doing is you're bringing human life through drawings. They're live people that have feelings. And if you go to see Disney movies, you know how heartwarming they are, or Dreamworks, because they've taken the time to develop these characters. So a lot of my job in working with people is to realize that they have to get inside their own scripts, just like actors. They really, and I have to take them through many exercises to get them through it. So I do relaxation work. I do a lot of like, how do you prepare Even before you draw as an artist, there's a preparation, there's a relaxation, getting in touch with your own sensitivity. And the thing I like about the Strasberg technique is that we have a preparation. So we get rid of tension and are available to ourselves. We don't get choked with tension. And so it's the same for the artists, right? How are you going to draw if you don't relax your hand, right? How are you going to dig into a deep part of yourself as an actor if your body is locked up with tension? And once you can free that up, whether you're in a voice booth or whether you're in a casting director's office, there has to be a preparation like any other athlete artist. And so I think that gets shortcut a lot. And I think it's something to think about. How are you preparing so you have the best shot at what you're doing? And I don't think that it's just warming up your voice or your pen. I think it's in really allowing yourself to be present in the here and now and to clear your mind and your body to take on what you're about to create. So the nice thing is not only do we have the regular acting questions, but then we have the sensorial questions which come through that you're bringing to life. The place, the person, the time of day, the year, the temperature, the sense, the sound, the taste, all that you can bring alive. And it's like pixie dust, putting it into your work, into your scripts, and really smelling something, you know, right? Like if I tell you to smell chocolate chip cookies right now, fresh baked, right? I brought a little smile to Nicholas's face, right? It warms you up, right, Claire? It warms you up. So right now, I don't know Nicholas, but he just warmed up. His whole face, he became more available. And so acting is about sharing a piece of yourself. It's about revealing. You can't hold back. And so getting specific with your memories are what's going to bring life, bring, you know, your blood and flesh into your acting. So that's a really big thing that I do. I do tons of work, just like in an acting class. In my class, does anyone draw here? Do we have any artists here? Okay. How about voiceover artists? Okay. Actors. Okay. All right. So some of the stuff I'm going to talk about for the class I'm going to be teaching with Help Network is really also part drawing. So in the perfect world, it could be like my other class if I got, you know, it's only a 2-hour class, but it could be a perfect world if I got some animators in here and actors, and then you could work together, and that would be wonderful. So the things that I do in the curriculum that I've created are to help better develop original story-driven characters. And in my class, through improvisation and scene work, we learn how to make personal choices to fulfill all possibilities in the scene. And preparation to me is 90% of everything as an actor. The second you get that script, you've got to be on it, and you've got to be mining it for meaning and mining it for choices. And that's really the most important part. And then you relax, and then you recreate those choices, and you have it right there. So what I find, especially with actors and voiceover actors teaching this class, are that people are doing a lot of outside, instead of inside out, they're going outside in. And it really needs to start inside. And exploring with the voiceover artists in this class, even last week, Claire, and not you really in particular, but and some artists, you know, there was this feeling like this is something else because it's voiceover, that I don't have to still find meaning in my words and make choices. And so the acting tended to be a little bit, we had it like a dress rehearsal, seemed to be a little bit rushed, jumping moments. And I know there is a certain energy to doing animation. There's no doubt about it. We had a guest from Dreamworks, a Dreamworks voice director, came into our class, and he talked for about an hour. And absolutely, there's more energy, and you will get redirected. But once you have the solid reality, then that's technical, right? Just like when a director gives you an adjustment, which is a wonderful thing, by the way, to get an adjustment, especially in an audition. It means they're interested in you, and even if you didn't come in with the first choice they wanted, they want to see more of you. So my feeling is to make a choice. Always make a strong choice. So with my animators, I'm taking them through all sorts of exercises. We work with a lot of entrances and exits, really important. We work with a lot of first experiences. My first time doing this is always a good place to pull from as an actor or an artist. You're usually going to find meaning in those places when you go to make choices. And I've created, it's so detailed. I mean, I really like have pages of it here, but what I really do is I teach animators how to do reference on their own so they can partner up with someone. Animators do a lot of acting, and it's too bad because in the old days they had something called rotoscope where they would hire the actors. You could see old pictures at Disney of, you know, people coming in and doing Snow White, and you would act out the character. There's still one French director that does this, but if we still have this, what a great job for actors, right? And then it's somewhat what art modeling is, what I do now. But so I teach them how to create, how to improvise, how to take on character, how to deal with imaginary objects. So since I have a lot of actors here, and when you are in the voiceover booth, you can use those things to stimulate your own self. You can really see things. You can really put things out there. You can really smell things. Otherwise, you're reading words, and you never want to settle with just reading words. Art is in the creation. And so I think it's really important that you do some type of technique class if you haven't already. I know a lot of actors skip to scene study or cold reading, but finding a way to do technique or a really good script analysis class, how to break down material and make choices, is extremely important. I also work with them on animal work. Anyone done animal work here? No one, okay. So when I work on super pets, they're animals. And so I get the animators on the floor doing animal work, which is one of our exercises at Strasberg. And so you have to study an animal. You go to the zoo, or if you can't go to the zoo, you can study online, and you actually create how the animal moves. And if you are doing animation, you want to know how that character moves. So when I teach animators at Dreamworks, we'll often do this. They're playing all sorts of characters. They'll come in and say, can you help me? I'm a character that has, I think recently one person came in, my character doesn't have fingers. How do I move? How do I talk? You know, it was a kid show at Dreamworks. And so they're characters, or they're an animal. How are you going to understand, for the animators, how to create reality? So for the actors, you create an animal, you study an animal, and you stay in that animal, you do animal exercises, and then you stand that animal up, you yourself. And it's a beautiful way to develop a character. And I'm skimming over one of like the best exercises of Lee Strasberg. But there's a lot of inspiration. And I've definitely used animals in stage plays, and they'll really give character to you. A lot of the practicalities I have for my animators are how to, what are some of the animal exercises? Well, you would pick an animal and you would study them. And then during like sensory clair, you would stay in that animal the whole time. Okay, and you literally like become the animal. They're really strong, they're powerful. And if you have the ability to believe and create, they're very powerful. And then you slowly would morph that into a human, keeping the qualities that seem to be the strongest.
Okay, so at first you probably wouldn't speak. Like, would you even make animal noises?
Yeah, you can make noises, absolutely. Yes. And I have seen, we did do this at Dreamworks where they kept a little bit of their voice. A little, and then we would go into an improvisation. So absolutely. It's a great place to look for inspiration, animals. I have a lot of animators come to me with practical questions. They're revisionists, you know, how much character can I put into a frame? What can I do to change? I can't really change the frame. What can I do? And Super Pets, we did character interviews, which are wonderful. Has anyone done character interviews here? Okay, great. So essentially, you are questioned. You have someone question you, hopefully your acting teacher, but anyone can do it at home. And that way you really think about particulars with your character that you wouldn't necessarily have thought about. And it helps you to really ground into your character. So anyone, any friend, anyone at a coffee shop, anyone, just say, hey, can you just ask me some questions? And you're in your character. So it was very helpful to do that with the Super Pets team because, you know, animated movies are really, they're for children, but they're also for adults. They have complex characters. What I like about animation and why I feel it's a really noble field to work in is because it's really a modern day of what we used to call a morality play. You know, back in the 1600s, the church would have morality plays to teach a moral. And I feel that animation is so important because you have the most young, impressionable minds that are going to see these movies. And you really can change a child's life. And I think it's a great place to invest your talent getting into animation as an actor or artist. So I think in order to go deep like that, you have to really go there. There's a great video on YouTube on the making of the movie Inside Out, which is an animated movie, and I would suggest you all watch it. It's how they created the character. So this man who created the movie based it on his daughter, who became a teen and all of a sudden, you know, became introverted. And it's a movie about expressing your feelings and how he really had to go there. It's so worth watching. How he really had to go into the experience to understand what it was. So you want to bring that depth to your roles. You want to bring that depth of understanding. And the people I know who create these movies really understand this. There's one guy I work with, Randy Haycock at Disney, who worked in The Lion King and did Simba. And he understands this work, how personal you need to get. How you need to understand the experience of the character you're playing. So if you haven't experienced that particular experience, where do you go? Where do you go personally? How do you parallel the experience in the script with your own life? Because you always can find an experience. If I'm teaching children about loss and they haven't lost anyone, well, maybe they've lost a pet, right? There's always a parallel experience and it's your job to find it and understand it. So great questions are, when have I ever felt like this? What does this remind me of? What does this place remind me of? Who does this person remind me of? This situation, always turning inwards. And so that's a lot of the work I do. My exercises for artists deal with a lot of drawing and acting. I have the actors on the stage, which are the animators in this case, and I teach them how to draw in things from their own lives so they can put a piece of them into their work. And so sometimes an exercise would be to get up there and take a pose, and then everyone would turn that into their own hiding place as a child or their own first day of school. So I would take something which is a generic pose, and then you would personalize that. So it's very much what I do with actors, except I do this for artists so they can learn how to do this. I do a lot of exercises that deal with power centers. Those of you who have done physical work, where does your power center come from? How do you walk? I'm dealing with a lot of movement, how that changes character. So if you want to become a character actor and play parts that are different than yourself, then you have to learn, how do you create that? Well, first you need the truthful core, and then you need to build that. So you do move differently than yourself, sound differently than yourself. Of course, it's always yourself, but learning how to do that is very important. And of course, with animators, to become animals, to draw animals or draw little children, they have to tap into something. The best thing you can do is to stay fresh, no matter what age you are. Stay young, do a lot of work in your own life to find the wonder in life, whether that's taking walks every day and doing observation and noticing things. The idea is to sensitize yourself to everything in life. And that is how you're able to work in animation. You are going to be playing kids. You are going to be playing all different ages, people that don't necessarily look like you, sound like you. That's the beauty, right, of voiceover. It frees you up from typecasting. Typecasting isn't necessarily a bad thing if it points you in a direction where you can start working and then move into different areas. Try to embrace everything you can, especially in the beginnings of your career. It's a wonderful thing. So, any questions so far? Where's a good place to look for roles for video games? Well, I know that HelpNet does a lot of voiceover workshops, right? That's who's hosting this right now. And I know that Julia, who works with HelpNet, does casting for video games. And it's not really my forte, although I believe that if I was a voiceover actor, I would certainly get an agent that would be submitting me. Had relationships with casting directors, but until then, you might want to reach out. Do you have a reel yet, Nicholas?
Well, I very recently got the microphone. I saved up for it and grabbed it. So I've mostly just been playing around with it. And then I've been going to online classes like these to get more of a tangible sense of what a reel should sound like. So I'm starting to record a bunch. I have probably like 2 hours worth of just like vocal clips on my computer. And I need to start to make it a cohesive reel, but I have yet to have that ready in front of me.
Well, Julia Bianco Shuffling is a casting director. She has a database online. I'm going to put her name in here. And that's how I got in touch with the Help Network. She's really awesome. And you can go online and put yourself, and I'm sure there are other casting directors that have databases. Are you on all the other sites such as Actors Access?
I'm on Actors Access. Let me see. I'll go through my tabs. There's
LA Casting.
Yeah, so many.
Yeah.
There's Actors Access. There's ACX. There's.
I don't know that one. ACX.
ACX is mostly audiobooks. I've been trying to build a portfolio for that as well. So I'm on quite a few, but if there are a few that jump out to you as being good ones, I would love to hear them. And then if I've never heard of them before, I will.
I mean, who knows? I mean, I've just taught my first class with voiceover actors. Agent is the direct and best way. Don't really want to discourage them, but right now, okay. The competition, thank you for this. It's tough, unless you're already in the work. It's going to be tough. Okay, but still doable. Otherwise, we'd all head home, right? Still doable. So are you already trained as an actor, Nicholas?
I am, yeah. I graduated with a theater minor at Loyola Marymount University, and I was in, I believe, 8 productions during my 4 years at LMU, so I have quite a bit of training through the theater courses that I took there, as well as theater experience that I had there. So I have training there, but I'm not going to pretend like I'm like a super classically trained actor. It's
Yeah,
just
well,
something that I love to do. And
well, when you have time, you'll do that. Yeah, it is fun. The classics are fun. Yeah, I would take the advice also that he just gave, that, you know, keep taking classes. I would take them with people that are working. I know, you know, Health Network has classes. I know I've seen Disney people giving classes. I really don't know much about them. I have seen that in the past. And I don't know if who the casting director are. I feel like her name is Sarah. So anyhow, okay. So what else do I want to share with you? I mean, improvisation's huge. In my classes, we take a character from an animated movie and do a lot of improvisation. Like, I'll assign someone from a character from Toy Story, and then we'll do a lot of teaching you how to create character, how to do improvisation, how to do backstories. I've even had people create projects in my classes, boarding. So it's the idea to introduce these artists into the mind of an actor, which is very particular and very specific and very detailed. A lot of the exercises I do deal with personal memory and improvisation, and a lot of warm up for them, a lot of exercises. I like people to pull from their own world. Any advice for international actors regarding approaching U.S. animation companies? Oh, hello. Where are you from? Hold on. Disappeared. Ah, it's
Yeah.
London. Hello.
Yeah, I'm an American, but I've lived in London for ages and ages, and I do mainly voiceover work these days. But yeah, I'm trying to get into doing more animation.
Yeah.
And they're completely different industries, the animation that's happening in the UK versus what's happening in the US. But just wondering what, yeah, if that's changing a little bit with people opening up to home studios.
Well, definitely. I think definitely right now with COVID, I know the casting director from Dreamworks last week said that it doesn't really matter where you are right now. And so people are doing recordings and sending them in, and they're putting them all together that way. I don't think it really matters so much, but then yes, once we get back in person, perhaps then people will want to see you in the room. If there's stuff going on in London, I would encourage you.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. It's different kinds of stuff. And I do all the kid voices and, you know, little boys and teen boys and stuff like that. So there's definitely a niche there somewhere. It's just a matter of getting my foot in the door and getting heard by the right people. But yeah, I am trying to I'm just in baby steps of doing it in both sides of the Atlantic, really. But I think I know a little bit more about where to start out here. And then I think about the US and I go, there's so much. I don't really know where to start. And some of it, I suppose, like you say, a starting point is an agent in the US as well as the UK.
Yes. So, but making contacts, so if people know you're really dependable and they can call you in with particular casting directors, has always worked for me in the past, those relationships. And I know that there are a lot of roles for someone who has a voice like you, and I would really make it a priority to reach out to people in the studios. Nickelodeon would be good for you. Try there. Yeah. Cartoon Network. I work at all these places, and yeah, so they're all divided up. I mean, it's not like they all have different departments. And so it's not like I meet all of them when I'm in there teaching animators. There is a separate voiceover department. Although I do know the animators that are actually, you know, I do know producers and directors and people that are actually making the projects. And so, you know, you could try to get in an animation company in some capacity.
Mhm.
I mean, anything's possible, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could to make relationships there. And if that's really what you want to do, you have to put yourself in a place where people see you and hear you. And that's, you know, that's the challenge always. And I know as a young actress, I was completely fearless that way and got so many things happen for me because I just used to put myself in the place of action. You know, I would be like a PA on a TV show, you know, got my SAG card, you know, whatever, you know, you have to be around people that are working. And if it's classes, that helps because then you meet people and maybe they want to share information. You can't, you know, acting, as James Dean said, is the loneliest career. And you really need to have a network with other people. It's so important. I had an acting teacher that said, you know, reach out to 5 people a day. Like, make it a point. 5 people. Hi, I like your work. A director, or do you have time for coffee? Follow them on Instagram. People are doing so many events right now, more than ever.
Yeah.
Backstage is doing a lot. So it is, I found that most of my work is in contacts. There are also smaller markets. Like, I'm in Boston right now. It's a really strong market, but it's small. But there's tons of work here. So it's fun to explore. Lately, I've been teaching also at a school in Albuquerque. You know, Netflix is there. They're big. Albuquerque, New Mexico. So I would suggest making contacts in markets like Albuquerque. And there are only a few casting directors there. Like, literally, there are 3, I think. So I think you have to think outside of the box. And I've only learned that in the last couple of years. I was so LA driven, like LA or bust. Like, I'm not going anywhere else. There's only a couple animation companies in Boston, Steve. And so I don't know about that. There are a couple that I've made contact with, and they are small, but they do cast a lot of voiceover stuff here in Boston through Boston Casting, where I teach. And there is voiceover work. So why not think outside of the box? I guess that's what I would suggest for you, Stephanie. The road less traveled is often a really good one to take.
Thanks. Yeah, it seems like a really obvious thing to say.
Well,
But these days it's yeah, you're completely right. You have to remind yourself of that and then take advantage of everything that's out there. Like you say, there's so many online things happening at the moment. So that's good. But yeah, that's nice to hear from yourself that it doesn't necessarily need to be just LA or bust.
And also, like, if you're in this for the long run, and I've been in it a long time, like, the journey gets hard. You need to take detours. You know, you can't keep like knocking on the same doors forever. You need to explore. You need to grow as a human being yourself. And it's unfair to yourself to keep trying it the same way. And then when there's another door that you're not seeing, that's just off to the right.
Yeah.
And so, and there's some relief. Like, for me, there's been some relief in leaving LA and traveling around the country and teaching. And I went to Shanghai and taught. And there's some relief. I hope to come to London to break it up, and how you are approaching your career. And like, have coffee with everyone, though. You know, anyone who knows anyone who knows anyone in LA, because you just never know. Or in London, you know, in big cities, you never know. So, you know, when you ask, you know, hey, do you know anyone I can talk to? If you went to a college, like any alumni, like, I always start from the closest relations I have. Things that people, I was surprised when I came out of college and went out to LA, how many people met with me. And so I would suggest that you do a lot more reaching out. There was a good question about how do you reach out to animation companies. There's so many. And there's smaller ones that are like Titmouse Animation. Like, has anyone heard of that? They do a lot of work. Yeah. I think I mentioned it the other day. there's smaller companies where the work is being done. You don't have to go to Disney. How do you find someone to edit your voiceover reel? Ah, Claire. Does anyone want to take that question in LA? Anyone want to take that question? I can find out for you, Claire. Dave might be able to answer that for you too.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I was just thinking he was the one who said that make sure you have your VO demo reel professionally done, because if someone self edits and it's not as good as what a professional could do, they can like tell, and then they might just dismiss you because of the quality. And I'm not trained in that, so I think I would want to hire someone to like do it for me to make sure it's really good.
Okay, I will definitely reach out to someone. I think I'm talking to someone next week that might be able to answer that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you can get that. Thank you. I like the way we keep getting wisdom from above. Thank you. I appreciate that. So a lot of the things that, since I have no animators here, I'm not going to go too much into all the specific exercises that I do with artists, since I thought there would be some artists on the call. I'm happy to answer any questions, though, about acting. JMC Voiceover does great demos. You got that?
I don't know. I can't remember exactly where he's based, but he's one of the really good ones. And if you need someone that's local to you, he would be able to recommend lots of really good people. And the thing with the demo, and this is sort of aimed at Nicholas or whoever else might be thinking about, I just think, like, even if you are an absolute sound engineering pro, you want it to be so good, and you want to have insight from somebody who knows everything about the industry that you're making it for. And so for that, you just need an outside ear. You need somebody who's being completely objective. So yeah, always get your demos made by somebody else, not by yourself, I think. Best way around it, if you really want to stand out and have it be the best that you can possibly present to people. That's my 2 cents.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Stephanie. I also think that question, I know that you had a Julian put his email in the chat. And also I think Catherine Hunter could answer that for you, Claire, as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yes, she could do that for you. So doing this class with voiceover and animation has been truly incredible. And I don't know that there's any such class like that, but I am open to talk to Julian to find things that would fit your needs in the future in that area, perhaps. Thanks so much. Yeah, Claire. Okay, Steve, you look like you're set up in a studio. Have you been doing voiceover for a while? Or you're muted?
Yes, clearly you can tell I've done voiceover a lot because I don't even know to turn the mic on. Yeah, I've done voiceover for over 30 years.
Okay, so maybe you know, my experiences in animation, if there's anything you want to share.
Well, no, I mean, I'm interested in branching into, you know, animation and
Oh, good.
editing. It's a little tricky in that I live in Minneapolis, although I have family in LA, so I'm somewhat bi-coastal. Of course, not now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a direction I'd like to really explore, and you know, just learning whatever I can right now.
Right. Okay, so it seems what you need is really a class, a voiceover class like the one I'm teaching, geared towards animation.
Mm-hmm. Sure, I'd be interested in that.
Yeah. So we have all your names of everyone who was here today, and we'll do a follow-up, or Julian will do a follow-up, and we'll discuss this. Although the class that I'm teaching on September 1st is geared toward storyboard artists and definitely inclusive of actors, you know, we can see class will be on sale. Yeah, 12 p.m. today. The class I'm teaching on the first might be a situation where we might make it more inclusive to people that want to do voiceover for animation. Right now it's for animators who,
Sure.
yeah, acting for animators. But let me talk with Julian and we'll see. We're all very flexible here. We'll see. There are many ways, there are many branches off this creative tree.
Yeah.
So obviously you want something that would fit your needs. In the meantime, I'll probably wrap this up soon unless you have some other questions that I can help answer. I love working at the studios. I love being in the heart of animation. They do have more classes on the way. Okay, good. So I would keep checking back with them. And this is good for Julian and I to hear like what your needs are. So I come at it from a very specific area where I work, and as a performer and as a teacher to animators. And it's different than teaching actors. I do teach a lot of non-actors. I teach public speakers, I teach lawyers, elected officials. So I do work with a lot of non-actors, and it's a really fascinating experience. It's unbelievable to me that up until now, acting has not been taught in animation studios. And I get this common question, like, can we just change the pose from the art directors? Can we find some originality? Well, the originality starts from you. Starts from what you bring to it.
I just watched on the Disney Channel, there was a lovely documentary about Howard Ashman, who wrote the lyrics to The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin. And not only wrote the lyrics, but structured the stories for those. And there was a moment in this documentary where they talked about Howard Ashman when he showed up at Disney. He was saying, "Well, okay, so what's the I want moment in this story?" And they all kind of went, "What?
What? Yeah.
What?" And he says, yes. What does the character, stories like this, the central character has to have something he or she really wants. And that, we want to express that in a song. And they all kind of went, really?
And that, stunning to me. And they're making all the movies.
Yeah, and they had been making movies
I know.
for 60 years. But
without any understanding, I mean, I have here this handout with, I call it my choice list of, all those actor questions that I often give out to students. My artists will attach those to their drawing boards, or their computers when they work, because they never have thought about it either. It's stunning. It really is stunning that they would not have thought about this or not go inside out. Or I know they have a lot of discussion about characters because they develop them so beautifully. But, unless you're like a Randy Haycock and have been around a long time, there's been no training for this. So I take it really seriously what I get to do in these studios, and hope that I'm, passing on some good humanity, good empathy for them to put into their work. Because if they create it and they feel it, we will feel it, which is a lovely thing. And that's what we do as artists for other people, right? Mm-hmm. We're in the business of feelings, and we help them to feel. And that's a huge gift that you all have. And I think it should be taken seriously with your intent of why you do what you do. And so again, if you're out of class or, haven't been in an acting class in a while, it's good to do a tune-up on your own instrument to make sure you're still really sensitized. And so your work stays fresh. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I'll put my information in here. And again, I am teaching this class with the Help Network on the 1st. And I will see how we can clarify this. And then I also have an Instagram. And so we'll see how we can clarify this for you guys, if there's something we can do that would be geared towards you. And Claire, did you want to say anything about the voiceover animation class?
Okay.
Sure.
I was just thinking, like, I was gonna write how much I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
It's just neat. Like, at the beginning of the class, we did all the exercises, and it was just kind of different, like improv, like quick on your feet, and then knowing that the storyboard artists are watching. Like, a lot of them, when we break out into our separate groups to do like our recording, they have all these questions about acting, and it's just interesting to talk about acting to people who are like on the other end of it. Mm-hmm. And like explaining improv or explaining like all the method technique, like how to create the thought before, you know, you speak your line, or like sorry, I like lost my words.
Yeah, I know what you mean though.
Like,
yeah, to put your own personal meaning in before, and to think on the line, to think under the line, as I say, to think before the line, right?
Yeah, and like each character is so different, and some of the cartoons that we do are like, some are a little bit more for adults, so like your language is looser, and then other it's like a cute little cartoon, so you would like channel your little kid. I don't know, it's just so different, and there's so much variety, so it's really fun, like playing with the different voices that as an artist you create in your mind and in your heart, and then it comes out, and then you have like the director is the storyboard artist, and they'll tell you like how to adjust it, and it's neat because then they get to play director to the actor, and sometimes like they're a little bit hesitant, but we're like, no, give us all that feedback, like be super honest, like we can take the critiquing because this is for your project. So you're, as an actor, you're really helping the artist create their work, and you get to be a part of that, and like you're just bringing your own unique humor or like nervousness, or you know, all the things. It's very rewarding and fun.
Yes, it is. It's been rewarding watching, and I can't wait to see the final project. So we have one more week on that class.
I know it's I wish it were longer.
It's been 6 weeks, yeah. So let's see what we can do in this class on the 1st, and what curriculum I can make that would be, if you have suggestions, or please write to Julian what you're looking for, that would be helpful, and then I can pull from that hat for you. And yeah, have a couple of ideas swirling around my head. Do I need to pull the class for now? Oh, haha. Let's not pull it, but let's talk about how we can make it more applicable. Oh, oops. That's okay. We're sharing. No, let's keep it. Let's keep it. Let's see how it could be workable for you, what you're looking for. If you could put that in an email to me, those of you who are here today, put it in an email to me, and then I'll talk with Julian. It's all about you, right? The class is for you and what you can most get out of it. So if we can tailor that, that would be great, right? All right. So thank you so much for coming today. I feel, yeah, we're here to help the students, and I feel that you asked some really good questions, and always continue seeking and searching, right? If you want to find answers, you have to really look for them. And you showing up today means a lot, right? You saying to the universe, I'm serious. I spent an hour here. I want to move into this new area of animation. And there's a ton of work. There's a ton of work. It's just getting through that door like anything else, and it can be done. And it will be done by you. So hang in there, stay positive, and we'll be in touch. Okay.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Rachel.
Thanks very much.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.